TPUSA contributor Jack Posobiec. Great to see you today. Looking ahead, days after the Super Bowl halftime show, before we get into how everything was put together, did you see success in what you were able to bring the viewers?
It was a tremendous success. The entire team, from Erica for greenlighting it, to the events team that put everything together, to all of the work that went into the preparation for it, making sure that we dotted all our I's, crossed all our T's, all of that work. You look at the production, it speaks for itself. The numbers speak for itself. It became the #1 U.S. live stream of all time, the #2 worldwide live stream on YouTube of all time. We're looking at 40 to 50 million people tuned into this, made the switch. And what did we do? We provided people with something very simple: a pro-American, pro-faith, pro-family, pro-freedom alternative that was a family-friendly halftime show. And this really was Charlie's inspiration. This was something that Charlie talked about for years, that the moment that is our cultural touchstone of every single year, the Super Bowl halftime show, it ought to promote the type of virtues that we want to see in society.
Talk about what went on behind the scenes in getting some of the artists. We know those like Kid Rock, Lee Brice, and the others that participated. Were there other performers, other musicians that were going to be a part of it, were later pulled off? Do you believe that the NFL had anything to do with that? Agents, managers, etc.? Did you see any challenges of that sort?
Well, look, and you played the clip where I was talking about it yesterday. We certainly did see challenges like that, and quite frankly, it wasn't so much from the artist level. We would reach out to artists. You cast a wide net with these things when you get started. We only had 3 months to plan for this thing. I started tweeting about it, and then we greenlighted it after the Bad Bunny announcement, and then we put on. So a lot of artists, certainly their scheduling issues come up. Venue scheduling is actually very hard to do, to be able to get a venue of that size with the amount of time that we would need it. Usually those things get booked out a year in advance. But a lot of the times we would get some artists and we would be in discussions with them, or talking about certain songs that we wanted them to play, that sort of thing. And then all of the pressure comes on from the corporate side, from the music industry, because look, it was certainly a crash course for me. I haven't put on a performance like this before. I haven't been involved in something like this before, other than our own Amfests. And it's quite a different experience when you realize that how much pressure the music industry can put on, the way the rights work, the way the licenses work for streaming, for broadcast, etc. There was at one point where we actually ended up not being able, we found out really at the last minute that we weren't even able to stream on X because of a licensing issue. Had to make that announcement just about 2 hours before the show went live. And actually, I think that ultimately ended up working in our favor, and it's all thanks to God, and we're so humbled by His grace, because that drove so many people to our YouTube platform and ended up making it the record high YouTube there for United States audience. And so, God works in mysterious ways, and we really do believe that God was with us, as well as perhaps a little bit of Charlie's spirit.
Jack, what was it about the announcement of Bad Bunny performing for the Apple Music halftime show at the Super Bowl that triggered this effect for this alternative?
Well, look, it wasn't just Bad Bunny. It was years. And we went back, and I remember hosting shows with Charlie and co-hosting, and he would be railing against these halftime shows for years, the way they'd become these carnivals of debauchery. Charlie called it sexual anarchy at one point in 2022. And he would go again and again and again and say, why are we not doing a family-friendly halftime show? And then when Bad Bunny came out, this was a guy who had disrespected the United States, disrespected average Americans. He's not even singing in English. He's talking about these political issues, these politicized things. And by the way, this isn't the first time Bad Bunny has performed at a halftime show, and I've made this point in other interviews. Bad Bunny performed in 2020 with Shakira and Jennifer Lopez, and nobody cared, because he wasn't running his mouth, he wasn't disrespectful, he wasn't political. He politicized it so much that average Americans, and by the way, the type of Americans who like rock music, who like country music, that have been completely overlooked and underserved by the NFL, wanted an alternative. That's what we provided. We said, hey, if you want to come check out our show, here it is. We didn't force anyone to watch, of course, but we saw the millions upon millions of people. And we're just so humbled by God's grace for giving us the opportunity to be able to do something like this.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.